So, let us start with the first talk, from bot to bot.
All right, thank you guys. My name is Michael Fisher, and this is Samir. We're from Stanford, and we're going to be talking about our work on bot to bot, connecting a chat bot to a robot. So, to get us started, one of the motivations for this talk has been seeing how humans are able to collaborate with each other. When a human is collaborating with a human, another human, it's a very high bandwidth interaction. And part of the reason for that is because it's a very multimodal interaction. People communicate through not only speech, but through touch, but through gesture, through gaze, through many, many modalities of interactions. And that's what kind of makes it such a fluid and dynamic interaction. But when we compare that to an interaction between a human and a robot, what is that like? That's a much more pre-programmed and staged interaction. In that sort of in that setting, the robot has been programmed in a very well-defined environment to do a very well-defined task. There's no fluidity or dynamic interactions there. So even if the person wanted to change the interaction between the human and the robot, that might require an engineer either in the software or in the hardware space to go back and reprogram that robot. So the hope of doing that dynamically in real time on the fly is almost hopeless. So that's the motivation for this project, is thinking about how can we make an interaction such that it uses many of the modalities that humans are able to communicate with. So primarily what we're going to be talking about is speech, although that's not the only modality, which we hope. It's just we're chipping away one little bit of it. And so we're hoping to create a robotic interface where people can program it in real time and dynamically on the fly using just speech. So now we're going to sort of talk a little bit more about how we go about doing that. So this is kind of our vision. We want to create a robot where someone can say, robot, scratch my back, and it'll go about doing that. Now, in the event that it doesn't know what scratch my back means, the human could then say something like, robot, move to the left, touch my back, move to the left, move to the right, move to the left, move to the right, and then it could save that dynamically, and then it could be reused by other people in the future. So this is just a lay person being able to program the robot in real time. So how do we go about doing this sort of fluid interaction? We've created a thought-out pipeline with each consisting of 6 steps, and we thought very deeply about why we chose each of these 6 steps, and we're going to talk in detail about the reasoning behind that. So there's 2 primary things how we split the interaction in. We have the first side, which is the natural language side, and then we have the second side, which is the robotic side. And then we will explain how we interface those 2 things together. So first off, to begin, what is a chatbot for those of you who don't know? The chatbot is a computational agent that is able to have a conversation with another human. In this project, what we do is we use an Amazon Alexa that has a directional mic with 8 separate microphones. And what this is able to do is it's able to have a couple of benefits. The first is that you can have a hands-free interaction, so that you could be in the kitchen cooking and not have to get your hands on a computer. A robot could be on the other side of the room and you can control it, so you don't have to have any sort of physical contact with it. Or if a person is paraplegic and can't use their hands, they can use this chatbot as well. So chatbots are a growing field. There's Amazon Alexa, Echo, which we use. Siri, I'm sure most people are familiar with. Facebook has one. Google has one. Microsoft has Cortana. So there's a wide variety of them. So how do we chatbots and robots go about working together? So here's one example of how they could work together. Let's see. Okay, so here's one example.
Alexa, do you like being held?
I don't have an opinion on that.
So we don't think that that's how the chatbots are going to work together, but we have some other ideas about how they could possibly work together. So we came up with bot to bot. So as an example of how they work together, we came up with that we're going to explain in detail about the scratching the back example. So we came up with this pipeline. Just to read through it quickly, it has natural language to begin with. then verbal programming, then that translates into verbal bytes, and then that translates into the SCL robot assembly, and Samir will talk about these next ones, the control primitives, and then the multitask controller. So stage one is all about translating from natural language into a verbal program. So as you can imagine, at a high level, what this does is it takes what someone's saying and translates it into it's sort of a concise object that the computer is able to understand. Now what makes this tricky is that if I say something like, wake me up at 7, to just wake me up at 7, there's a large number of ways that someone could go about describing that. They could say, wake me up at 7 a.m., push me out of bed at 7 a.m., make sure I'm awake at 7 a.m., and all of these map onto the same canonical idea. These are all describe the same concept, but there's multiple ways in which they describe them. So we use Amazon Echo to have one canonical instance of this object, and then you can feed in multiple utterances. And so these other three here are the other utterances. And one of the things we want to emphasize is that they don't have when the user says something, they don't have to match the utterances exactly. They are used as a training set to build a language model that things nearby are able to go to. So that verbal program is then translated into something we call a verbal byte. Now, a verbal byte is sort of a mini app that runs on the robot. So if the person says poke, or that's constructed of many sub-programs of push and pull, push and pull. So this is a way to build an abstraction so that application developers can have sort of a semantic program that they can use without having to get into the low-level details of how to program the robot. So we've parsed the natural language into sort of an intermediate representation. Now, what do we do with that? Now we have to map it onto the robot's actions. And Samir, who's an expert in robot controller theory, will be talking about that.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Glad to be here, and thank you for hosting us. Moving on to the next stage of the talk, what we're going to be talking about is to take these intentions that we've essentially taken natural language sentences and process those into an annotated data structure that we can directly map onto programs. And how do we take that annotated data and go ahead and get a robot to move? So before we discuss the details, I'm going to take a second to discuss how we program robots in general. So if you have a robot and you'd like to do something, there are many ways you can go about doing this. A few that are very typical is if, for instance, excuse me.
We have operational space control with the Kinova.
So this is operational space control, which is a control methodology where you can directly program the end effector motions. And what I'm doing over here is with a little trajectory generator, I'm commanding a red ball, and the robot's trying to make the green ball fit into the red ball. And so it essentially does a variety of different motions, right? So one way you can program a robot to do stuff is you can take some controller that you prefer. We have a specific way of controlling robots. I'm not going to discuss the details. You're welcome to come chat with me about it later. But essentially, you take a trajectory, that's something meaningful. It could be poke, it could be pick up an object, it could be wave, or whatever, and you program that onto a robot manually. This is very tedious. And so, there are other ways you can do this too, which is you can take a robot and you can manually move it to do the same thing. So over here, we take a different robot and then essentially move it. We put it into a mode where it's compliant, and we move it to do a certain motion, and then you can record that motion and play it back. So most of the ways in which you program robots are something of this flavor. There are pros and cons to different ways, and so on and so forth. But in a nutshell, all of them involve programming the robot at a very low level. And in order for our system to work, there was this gap between natural language and these low-level robot commands, which we really needed to bridge, right? So not only did we want to bridge this gap, we actually wanted to create an ideology or a software framework that would allow us to do so in a manner that the software that we created would generalize and allow us to reprogram novel tasks very easily and so on and so forth, right? So let's take a look. We take our example application, task from before, which was to wake somebody up. And you of course start off with a high-level statement of the kind, tell the robot to wake me up at 7 a.m., which is parsed into this data structure and a program, just like, hey, when it gets to 7 a.m., trigger a program called wake. And then there's a verbal byte, which is essentially a program called wake, and it's translated into poke the guy and poke the guy again and poke the guy again until he wakes up, right? So the interesting thing about a verbal byte is it's a program that once it's initiated on a robot, it must complete. The verbal programs can be scheduled out of order and so on and so forth, but a verbal byte must complete. So when we look down at the point where we want to translate our natural language to a robot, in a nutshell, you can think about the representation of data as a state machine or a set of things that the robot has to do. And we have to somehow transform those onto low-level force and motion control commands. Now, in order for us to do this in a systematic manner, there's a bit of a caveat. And one caveat over here is that if we go ahead and look at the classical way of programming robots, every robot is a little bit different. They have different capabilities, they have different degrees of freedom, they have different structures. So if you take the raw motion of the robot, which is programmed at the very lowest level, it's not feasible to take that motion and directly map it onto a different robot. So you need an abstraction layer, right? And we decided to construct 2 layers of abstraction, where we take a task sequence and try to distill it into some specification that is totally robot agnostic. AKA, it should run on within reason a wide variety of robots. So if you take the wake program, you should be able to run it on a robot arm, you should be able to run it on a humanoid robot, you should be able to run it on your Roomba. If you're lying on the floor, the Roomba will just come and like bang against your back until you wake up, right? So this robot agnostic task specification is what we call robot assembly. So in a sense, it's a generalizable set of primitives or a set of actions that you can perform with a wide variety of robots. Moving down, there's always some component of the controller that is specific to a robot. So if you have a humanoid robot, it might need to step up to your bed and then push you. If you have an arm, it might need to position itself and then push you. If you have a Roomba, it might need to do something on the other and so on and so forth. So this separation we thought was very fundamental, and we decided to go ahead and pursue it. Of course, we can talk about details later. But given our reasoning mechanism, let's step back to our what-to-what stages. And the next stage that we come to is a verbal byte to SC, a robot assembly sort of interpreter or compiler. And this takes those programs and maps them onto very low-level mathematical operations that a robot can perform. So an operation like poke would be converted into a sine wave, where the robot moves in a sine wave and pokes you, or something of the sort. And then that sine wave would in turn be converted into a specific position. So hey, position your hand and control your hand, and in the meanwhile keep your elbow in a certain posture so you don't whack the guy on the head and conform to human safety and so on and so forth. And finally, there's a mathematical mapping from these low-level control primitives onto what we call the multitask controller, so that it can do multiple things at the same time. Great. So we have all the pieces of the puzzle, and since we're running out of time, I'm going to briefly end with a video. And if you'd like to see more, please come to our hack session tomorrow.
Alexa, tell robot left.
Okay.
Alexa, tell robot right.
Okay.
Alexa, tell robot down.
Okay.
So this might seem like a straightforward set of commands given, but you have to realize there's a full complicated software infrastructure that's operating on the cloud, runs through 4 or 5 servers and so on and so forth. And we just gave you this very short glimpse at the system to tantalize you. You can come play with us and write some programs tomorrow. And if you'd like to see a lot more, we're happy to share it with you. Right?
Thanks, guys. Anyone got one quick question while they switch?
Yep.
So you're using Alexa to create it automatically creates the verbal programs for you.
No. So we use Alexa to essentially as a really good mic, and
Sorry, what?
as a really good mic.
Okay.
And what Amazon does is it allows you to pre-specify a class of commands which was something that Michael
Utterances,
listed. So you have these utterances which map to an intention. So
Okay.
Alexa essentially gives us an intention. Beyond that, we write our own code. So an intention could be something like you could say, hey, wake me up in the morning, or roll me out of bed in the morning.
Sure. So I guess my
So that
question
mapping
is,
from many natural language sentences to one intention, and then you have, of course, the raw hardware that captures. So Alexa does these two.
okay, but Alexa is what's providing intention for you.
I beg your pardon?
But Alexa is providing the intention.
We program the set of utterances.
Okay.
And Amazon basically has a service which trains a language model, and it gives you an intention, gives you a likelihood on a set of intentions that you have. And then you can select
Okay.
those languages.
Great.